Recently there were published statistics about the number of people sleeping rough in our country. 4,134 were counted on a particular day in the autumn of last year. Whether that's the total figure or not, we don't know. But what we do know is that that is a 16% increase on the equivalent count last year in 2015. So it's clear that rough sleeping is on the increase. What's also interesting about these figures is that the biggest percentage increases are outside London. London is still the focus of it, and there is an increase in London, but the significant increases have been across the whole country outside London. This is an indication of a growing social issue within our society, because of course the number who are recorded as sleeping rough, i.e. sleeping on our streets, is only the tip of the iceberg of those who are one way or another homeless or close to homelessness. People who are sleeping on a friend's sofa, people who are in bed and breakfast accommodation, those who are in a temporary hostel bed and other such situations, those who are in a tenancy but it's a very insecure tenancy and they might be moved on at any point. I recently preached at Westminster Central Hall for the National Service for Homeless Sunday, and at the beginning of that sermon I took the time to say thank you. To say thank you to all of those who engage with homeless people in one way or another, not least the many within our churches. And that's true here in the Diocese of Rochester as well. Across our diocese there are winter shelters, many of them being run by the churches, sometimes in partnership with others. Those are reliant totally upon volunteers, and most of those volunteers are drawn from our churches. So I want to say a huge thank you to all of you who engage with these issues and those who give of your time and your passion and your commitment and your care in being alongside those who are homeless, particularly at this time of year and in a winter like this one where it's actually been very, very cold. This is one little bit of our engagement with our wider society. I was also recently at another gathering. It was at Westminster. It was a gathering of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Ending Homelessness. And the group was holding an inquiry into the particular issues for former offenders who are coming out of prison and are seeking housing. And we heard from a representative of local authority, from a prison governor, and from two people who had themselves been in custody about the issues that they have in finding accommodation when they come out of prison. It's especially the case if they are single, if they don't have dependents, and if they don't have any other issues which they're coping with, such as addiction or mental health concerns. It's a real issue in our society, another one. And again, the churches are making their contribution. These folks who were giving evidence to this panel, a number of them mentioned the contribution of Christian charities, the contribution of chaplaincy, the contribution of Christian individuals and churches to helping them resolve their issues and find a way forward and to re-establish their lives when they come out of custody. This year I'm one of the sponsors of an initiative across the country called Prison Hope. This is in my capacity as Bishop of Prisons, but it overlaps in the way I've just described with some of my concerns for homelessness as well. This initiative is about the churches as a whole across the country seeking to work with prison chaplaincy to enhance the connections and to see what we can do as Christian people to be alongside those who are either in custody or who are former offenders, as well as those who are the victims of crime and those who are affected by crime in our wider communities. These are a variety of examples of the way in which the churches are engaging with issues within our society. There are plenty of others too. I've heard recently about the developing work in our diocese around the care of those with dementia or those who are caring for somebody with dementia. That's a growing part of our ministry in our parishes and through chaplaincies, especially through the development of Anna chaplaincy within our diocese. And much of this is to be hugely celebrated, though in many ways we wouldn't wish to be having to do it. Some of the social issues within our society are issues we wish were not there. We wish that homelessness had ended. We wish that people were cared for, but we know that the statutory authorities and others are under huge pressure. And by our engagement, it's not that we're filling gaps which others should be filling, but we're actually expressing something which is at the heart of the gospel. Something which is about care, something which is about passion for those in need, something which is about our particular concern for those who are vulnerable, for those who are disadvantaged, to those who are on the edges of society. We see something in that which was really close to the heart of Jesus and which is central to our gospel ministry. It's not, as it were, an alternative to evangelism and other forms of mission. It sits alongside, that we proclaim the gospel and at the same time we live out the gospel, not least by our engaging with structures of our society and especially where we see injustice or suffering within that. And so I thank all of you who are engaged in any way with these issues, and I ask you to pray for our nation, to pray for our local communities, to pray for those who seek to exercise leadership within our communities, and to pray that God will continue to guide us as to how we should use what we've got available to us, our time, our skills, our talent, our experience, our premises, our resources, in order to respond to this gospel call to serve those who are in need.